All right. The mimic is not Glichtrap. I've seen a lot of theories that rely on the connections of like pre-existing story beats, like, you know, Tiger Rock being a VR program and Glitchtrap being a VR program. Mimic is trapped in a room. Glitchtrap is in a room in a VR room, right? And that's kind of most of the connections that I see with theories in general, but I think specifically what I want to be talking about is mimic theories and how, stuff like Tiger Rock is, or not Tiger, the Monty Within, how he's VR and mimics sort of, and that makes him the mimic, and Baby is, as Baby was in the fourth closet, has similar story beats to that of the mimic, and therefore they're the same guy. But I don't see a lot of theories based around characterization. Stuff like would the mimic actually do, like, pretend to be Monty and saw open a guy's head for no reason, or anything Baby does, you know? And I think characterization is something that is very important to to me, but also I think it's very important for theorizing. So today, I'm going to be talking about the characteristics of the mimic and Glitchtrap, comparing them, and using that to say that no, these guys are not the same guy, because they really, this won't be very formatted. I've got like stuff written out, but I'm gonna be rambling a lot, so it's not like a theory video. It's more of a me talking about the mimic for a while, and this is pretty much just a video on how the mimic characterization, how he's characterized, does not line up in any way with how Glitchtrap is characterized. And you're gonna listen to me, because everything I'm about to tell you is 100% fact. That is true. I am gonna say just a bunch of facts about characters. So this is not even a theory at that point. This is just me stating who that character is and how that does not line up with Glitchtrap. So I guess you have to believe me with that one, right? So the traits of the mimic. I'm gonna do him first because he's my favorite and I love him. First one, he is very impulsive. He's known to be every single action that he's taken throughout the series has been very impulsive, spur of the moment, not really thought out, not really planned out at all. He is shown to have an end goal, which is usually just, killing someone that he's found, technicians and uh, the teens and Cassine and whatnot, and he kind of just does whatever to get there. He's got a way to do it. He's got a way that he wants to do it. He's gonna trap someone. He's gonna uh, I don't know, lure them in, stuff like that, and then he kills them. Uh, but he clearly does not think through his actions very well. He his second appearance. This is in the second epilogue. First action he takes in that is destroy his only exit out of the pizzeria, which is the vent. The kids enter through a vent. That's the only way to get in and out. He destroys that so they can't escape. So that's a clearly very quick thing, and that's also very well seen in Ruin. And that's also very well seen in Ruin, how he kind of just has an end goal of escaping and, killing Cassie after that, but he doesn't really think through the specifics of the plan that he's got. He's got the Gregory voice and the Helpy mask, and that's it. He kind of just eggs. He doesn't really think through the specifics of that plan. He just jumps directly into it without thinking much of it through. Like, what if Cassie gets killed by evil animatronics, or a mysterious genie entity that's there? He doesn't really think through what if Cassie just doesn't do that. He kind of just tells her to do it over and over again and kind of expects that to work. So, does not think through his plans thoroughly and thoughtfully, and that's a very well-defined trait of his. The next one, I think is a really big one, is his impatience. He's constantly, especially this is most seen in Ruin, how he is constantly egging on Cassie to come. Oh, come rescue me from my. Don't you love Gregory? Don't you care about Gregory? Come on. You're taking so long. Just come get me. Come get me out. Come on, right? Come on. Just doing that the entire time. That's the time it's best seen. Everyone. That's his entire thing during that. But he's also very in examples because this is a counter argument that I've seen a lot. Is how he is patient throughout the epilogues and Tiger Rock. Yeah, he is a bit more patient, but he throughout the course of the stories does get, slowly more impatient throughout them. I think that's really well seen in Tiger Rock, where he he starts off just kind of like tugging at Kai a bit, kind of just messing around with him a little bit. But then as the story progresses, he's just like, all right, come on, let me take off your arm already, right? Until the very end where he just straight up rips them off and walks away. He doesn't even try to make it subtle or try to hide it all. He got bored of it. And that's also seen a bit with the epilogues where he is very clearly toying. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but he's very clearly toying with them the entirety of the epilogues. But at some point, he just kind of gets kind of fed up with that because they're hiding out. So he gets fed up with that and tries to lure them to him, which works. So he does that again. I'm going to talk about that a little more later. But he clearly is shown to get progressively more impatient as the stories go. He has fun with killing people, but he doesn't want to take that long, right? He's a little bit tired of it. So, he can be patient sometimes. He's just quick to impatience. That's his thing. Especially when he's not getting what he wants immediately. Where with Tiger Rock and the epilogues, he is at the beginning at least getting what he wants in some way. But then immediately after that, he's just like, all right, I'm getting a bit tired of this. I want to give me your goddamn arms, all right? The Mimic, he's definitely known to be, he's an asshole. That's not the best word. He's a jackass. He's a mechanical cunt. That's one I've heard, right? He's he's just a huge dick throughout every single one of his. Maybe not the Mimic story, but he's just a dick throughout all the other ones. In the first epilogue, when Gil is telling when Gil steals him, one of the construction workers, to go and clean up endoskeletons for him. He specifically includes the Gil specifically tells the Mimic to take off the arms of endoskeletons. But when Mimic repeats back that he specifically excludes the endoskeleton part. So he's intentionally leaving that out so he can kill them. He is fully aware of what he's doing. He calls one of the kids, I think his name was Jace, a boy unit during his POV bit. I think it's the 6th epilogue or so. He calls Jace a boy unit. So he definitely registers that these people are people. And he knows fully what he's doing. He's just an asshole. He's toying with them the entire time. He's easily able to kill them whenever he wants. He can turn to like a fucking spider, right? Kill them immediately. He's like specifically like super fast when he's a spider. He's just he's messing around with them. That's like an intentional thing that he traps them in there. Just because he's a very sadistic guy. He traps Kai, the protagonist of Tiger Rock, in a VR machine, and then like 3 or 4 times makes him think that he's escaped from the machine just to like mess with him more. And then, get really bored after a bit and take his arms immediately. And I said this a bit earlier with how he's just super impatient with Cassie. He's just not even that. He's just an asshole during that. He's like, "Don't you love? Come on, happy birthday, happy birthday! Come on, stop thinking about what you're doing. Just come and free me right now. Come on, come on. Happy birthday! I'm lonely." He said that was one of his ones, right? I, it's like he's funny. He's the funny asshole, but he's like a huge dick. He, this is I'll admit he is manipulative, right? That's a common trait he's got with Glichtrap. However, he is terrible at manipulating. He tries two times I think throughout the whole series where he pretends to be a kid trapped in the pizzeria. Actually, he does the exact same thing throughout all of his attempts to manipulate people, where he just pretends to be trapped in a pizzeria to get people to come to him. And I mean, it does work, but only in the way that why would they expect this guy to be able to mimic voices specifically to do voices? Um, and it doesn't even after the first time it doesn't even work. So basically, what happens is he lures I don't know. I think it was like a W or something. He lures some of the teens over. He's like, "Oh, I'm trapped in the pizzeria. Come get me." He lures them over, kills one of them, does the exact same plan again, doesn't work, and that's like his entire manipulation. He just stops after that. After that he just goes back to walking around. So he attempts to be sort of manipulative, but he doesn't really lean into it. And admittedly, he is a bit more in Ruin, but it is basically the exact same plot, and he is clearly very bad at it, where his only manipulation tactics are to just try to gaslight people really badly. He's like, with the helpy mask, he's just like, there wasn't a wall there. You're just going crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. He just does that the entire time. He's really, really bad at manipulating people, and the only reason Cassie is actively still there is because like this is a guy that she cares about. This is her friend. This is her only friend, right? So he's a terrible manipulator. And that's a bit more of the impulsive bit where he clearly did not think through a lot of his manipulation. He just defaults to gaslighting. Or with when he's doing the Gregory voice, he's just deflecting questions. He's like, "I don't have time. I can't answer your questions. Gotta go. I'm being chased." The next one on my list, I just wrote dumbass and did not write anything else. So I mean that's a pretty self-explanatory one, right? Is so this is a pretty big contrast to Glichtrap. He does not really care about his victims at all. Um, with Help 1 and 2, it's shown that Glichtrap does very clearly hold the MCI in some regard. You know, if he killed them, he did. If he killed them, if he didn't kill them, then why the fuck does he give a shit about them at all? First of all, why were they there? Why is he a shit ton of dolls of them? That doesn't make any sense. You know, I think that's like a big problem. I'm not really gonna get too much into that. Why the fuck is the MCI there if Glitchtrap is the mimic, right? They don't he doesn't have a connection to them. He doesn't care about them. Even if he's just pretending to be willing, he's got no reason to have them in his fucking AR machine, whatever you got going on in that game. There's no reason to do that. But that's besides the point. He does not really care about his victims in any way. You know, he messes with Kai for several hours. Today it's kind of screwy because it's all in VR. Just for him to take off just rip off his arms, walk away, story ends. It's implied that he just dies there. He doesn't really care at all, and he does that for every single kill that's known to be. I say known to be every single mimic kill. He's not glitch trap. All right. um, yeah, you're like condescending there. Um, you know, Every single epilogue kill, he just takes off their arms, piles them up, walks away, moves on to the next one. He does not really stick around to, I don't know, manipulate them at all, you know? Like a certain yellow rabbit would. The next one is his motivation, um, in that he does not really care about power at all. He doesn't really care about controlling things. His really only goal throughout the entire series is to just kill things. You know, he kills teens, he kills Kai. His only other motivation has been to escape in Ruin, but then immediately after doing that, he goes and to kill Cassie. So, you know, he just really wants to kill things. He doesn't really he's not really the kind of guy to be motivated to, I don't know, take over an entire company and run it. He's not even smart enough for that. He's an idiot. He's a moron. He is like super. I know that he doesn't even seem to care about being in the pizzeria during the epilogues. He's just be chilling. He's only actively killing people because there's people there and he wants to kill them because he's a dick. Yeah, he only wanted to escape after he got trapped in a tiny room instead of a giant room with hallways. You know, he probably isn't even that hard to lock up. You just gotta give him some arms and legs and whatever, and just toss him in a building. You're probably good, right? Just don't go in there, and you're fine. He's very active. He's a very sadistic and active guy with his killing. Every single kill of his has been by him. Yeah, he never has anybody. He doesn't have minions to do that for. Because why would he need them? He doesn't have a giant plan to take over a company or a mall or whatever. He just wants to kill things. So he doesn't need, say, a a blonde woman to kill 9 people and select a kid or whatever people are claiming that he does if he's Glichtrap. Yeah, he doesn't need to control things, nor would he ever really want to, because he would kill people immediately after seeing them, right? He just wants to kill everything he sees. He kills robots too. So why would he control I don't literally the only thing he does is kill and sit around between the killings. So I think this is a really big one. This is not really a character trait, I wouldn't say, but it's like a big part of what he does. He does not mimic personalities. He mimics actions. And I know there's a tiny bit of overlap between them. He like mimics behaviors, but he does not like mimic. He doesn't mimic personalities. He does not mimic who these people are. He just mimics things that they do, right? If I'm making myself clear with that one. Basically, every single time he's been used to mimic something, it has been ignoring times like Tiger Rock in Nexi or whatever, because those aren't the mimic. I don't know why people think those are the mimic. Those are not the mimic. I don't know where you guys got that from, but they're not, right? But he's never mimicked a personality once. He he watches David. He plays games with David. He mimics David's games, which is actions. He mimics Edwin's violence, which is actions. And he was used to watch animatronic performances and copy their movements, which are actions. So, he does actions. He doesn't do personalities. I want to make a something clear. There's a difference between being designed to mimic personalities and pretending to be somebody. What the mimic does in Ruin is pretend to be someone. He is not designed to do that. He just pretends to be them. And he does a terrible job at it too. So, you know, he pretends to be Gregory and Helpy, and both times is terrible at it, you know? The only reason Cassie believes him is because that has no reason to think that there is a voice mimicking robot in the basement and not just her close friend who's been missing. Eh, he barely he mimics Gregory's voice, and that's it. He barely attempts to act like him. Not even. He does not act anything like Gregory or Helpy throughout the entirety of Ruin. He act every single trait that he shows throughout all of Ruin are just traits of the mimic and not Gregory. And I'm not gonna compare them. I'm not gonna do a Gregory video. It's stupid. You're stupid. But my point is here, doesn't mimic Gregory's personality, does not mimic personalities, mimics actions and voices, and that is it. Only things he does. Right? That's a huge point, right? All this is to say, Mimic has a very clearly defined personality that has been consistent throughout all of Ruin, all of Tales, the entire series. Why would they change that for one variation? Is my point. That's what I'm getting across. And I think a lot of people forget or kind of just ignore that Mimic is like a fully sentient being. He's like his own guy with thoughts and feelings, and that's like a directly shown thing. He's not like forced to mimic every single thing. He chooses what to do, and in fact, I would say he's even mimicked things in quite a while now. Just a couple voices here and there, but other than that, he's really not done all that much recently, if I'm honest. You know, he is like a fully his own guy. He's not just a machine. He he thinks. He's shown to think. So next, I'm going to talk about Glitchtrap's personality, his all his characterization, all his characteristics, and very interestingly, Glichtrap, Burntrap, they're the same guy. I'm not going to get into that. That's not even an argument. They're the same guy. He's got like a near exact opposite personality to the Mimic, to the point where it would be insane for them to be the same. They have nearly exact opposite personality. So where Glitchtrap, his whole thing, he controls things, right? He loves controlling people. He loves controlling companies. He loves controlling robots. You know, that is his entire. That's pretty much. It's like his main thing, right? He controls Vanessa. He then uses her to control, uh, I don't know, the AR guys, right? He then uses that to control the Pizzaplex and so on, right? So that's his main thing. He controls things, right? That's his biggest thing. And that's a huge contrast to Mimic's lack of doing that ever. That's just not really something that Mimic does, right? Glitchtrap is very manipulative. He's very calculated in his plans. He's, you know, every single action Vanessa can take ends with her being controlled. There's once she puts on the headset, she's already on. Every single action, it's a very thought through plan, very calculated plan, and you know, once she starts, she cannot get out. Every single action she could possibly take ends with her being taken over. And that's also assumed to be true for Jeremy and Tape Girl and probably Gregory as well. But we don't really have as much on those three, just Vanessa. So I'm going off of that. Glichtrap is very patient. It's a pretty self-explanatory one. He literally just stands around for like all of Help Wanted. He tells Vanessa to collect tapes like twice maybe, and then just stands there for the rest of it. He doesn't like constantly, come on, come get me, come get me, come get me, like a certain endoskeleton would be doing. Or the controlling one. Burntrap, he's a big one. He also just stands around. He's been more on the controlling bit, where during the Burntrap ending, he literally just stands there and has animatronics do his bidding. instead of Mimic, who immediately tries to kill everybody he sees in some convoluted way or whatever. Mimic he's an active, sadistic guy. Burn Trap stands there and watches. Very different. And I've seen a lot of people say recently with Help Wanted 2 that Glichtrap is an offspring of the Mimic. He's like his child. He's the Mimic AI, but he's not the Mimic. And I don't see why that would happen. I don't see the point of introducing a character that is the exact opposite of the Mimic. And in literally every way. And just say, oh, they're the same guy, but they're not really the same guy. I think that would be incredibly stupid storytelling. You know, they they look nothing alike, they act nothing alike, they have completely different motivations. That I'm being a bit harsh here, but no one's gonna watch this, so I think I'm good with all that. Steel, and I would unfortunately say Scott as well have a bit more planned out here than I think you guys realize. Fuel is not some dumbass single, just one guy making games. They're a full company, and you guys really need to give them more credit. They're not just gonna retcon things willy nilly. They might add context to things that weren't explained, like an endoskeleton, but they're not gonna retcon things fully. I think you guys are missing the part where these are actual professional storytellers and won't include a completely separate character and then try to claim that they're the same guy somehow, you know? In any way, an AI replica. I, no. So my last thing I want to talk about with this is the similarities between the situations that Glichtrap and the Mimic are in with Help Wanted and Ruin, the first Help Wanted, and comparing their actions in those situations to each other. I think that's a pretty fair thing to do, right? They're both trapped. They both have one guy come help them out, right? So, the Mimic, Ruin, right? Very loose escape plan. And there's going to be a lot of retreading the same character traits again. But in Ruin, Mimic, his escape plan is extremely loose, right? It's basically just a how, and that's it. He does not think the specifics at all. Doesn't try to pretend to be Gregory or Helpy remotely. He just kind of gaslights her and eggs her the entirety of the game to get her to come free him. Doesn't really think anything through. It's a very improvised plan, and immediately tries to murder her right when she gets out, right when she gets him out, instead of manipulating her further or whatever. Whereas with Glichtrap, he's got a very convoluted and meticulous plan that, like I said, cannot fail. There's nothing that Vanessa can do that will end with her defeating him. I mean, there's like this technically the ending where you can, but that's not canon, so that one doesn't happen. Uh, every action, ignoring the tapes, failing to follow the tapes, following the tapes exactly, all end with her being controlled. Same result. And then, Glichtrap very clearly thought through what happened after that. He thought through what he would do with the AR and the Pizzaplex and whatnot. And I don't think that end goal is something that Mimic has the motivation or the patience to even do. You know, I think I think that the best way to describe the difference in their plans is that Mimic plans for what he wants to happen. He bases everything around trying to force people into what he wants to happen, like the activating nodes and I don't know, killing Roxy and whatnot. Whereas Glitchtrap kind of plans for every possible action and uses that to get people to where he wants them. He plans around the people instead of the objective, I would say. I think that's the best way to put it. They, from a characterization standpoint, they really can't be the same guy. Okay? Complete opposite guys in very many ways, and it doesn't really make sense for them to be the same. But if he's not the mimic, which he isn't, there's literally a singular answer that it can be. You know, a character that happens to share every single trait of Glitchtrap, a very purple individual. You know, it is pretty fucking obvious. I don't think it's a good choice, but I think Glitchtrap is really cool, so I can't say I mind it. All this is to say, Glitchtrap is not the mimic. Thanks for listening to me ramble. Goodbye. I don't know how to end videos, right?